Hi gentlemen, the focus of today's video is on calculating percent composition. This is going to lead us into our discussion on determining the chemical formulas, which we'll talk about after we talk about percent composition next class. So if you could go to your OneNote and open up the percent composition page, we'll get started. So once you're here, scroll down to the first example and I'll walk you through how to do it. If you need to, you can pause, sort of rewind and follow along as you go. The focus of percent composition and the overall goal here is to determine basically the overall percentage of the mass of an element or of a compound that each element represents. So for example, in water, how much of the percentage of the overall mass of water is hydrogen, how much of that overall percentage is oxygen. Okay, so to start with, we're going to start with a molecule called carvone. Okay? It's a substance that occurs in two forms that are arranged differently, but they have that same formula and the same mass. One type gives caraway seeds their characteristic smell, and the other is responsible for the smell of spearmint. So the challenge here, and the challenge for this section, is to calculate the percent composition of the elements of carvone. So the formula is C10H14O. Now, the big question is, what is a percentage? Very simply, in the most simple form, it is a fraction over 100. So to determine that, we need to know the overall mass of this element. So then we can determine what is the percentage of, what is the percent mass of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And this is going to again help lead us into determining these formulas moving forward. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, we need to figure out what's that overall mass. Okay, so the first thing, let's look at carbon. There are 10 carbons here. So to calculate the mass of carbon in this compound, in one molecule, we're going to take the number 10. We're just going to multiply it by the molar mass of carbon. So if you look at the periodic table, carbon right here has that molar mass of 12.01. So we'll go back and we'll multiply 10 by 12.01, which gives us a mass of 120.1 grams per mole. Hydrogen, there are 14 hydrogens in carvone, so we're going to multiply 14 by the molar mass of hydrogen, which is 1.01. And that gives us a mass of 14.14 grams per mole. And finally, we have one oxygen, so we just do 1 times the molar mass of oxygen, which is 16. Grams per mole. So now it's just a matter of adding those up to get the overall molar mass of carvone. So if we look at this, we'll take 120.1 plus 14.14 plus 16 gives us 150.24. So there you have the molar mass of C10H14O. So now let's figure out the percentage of each one. So the mass percent of carbon is just going to be the total mass of carbon in the compound divided by the overall mass of the compound. So we'll just take 120.1 grams per mole, divide that by 150.24 grams per mole, times it by 100, it's a percentage, right? And do our calculation. So we'll take our 20.1 divided by 150.24, multiply by 100, you get 79.94%. Okay? Percent of hydrogen. Do the same thing. We're going to take our 14.14 and divide it by 150.24 times it by 100. 14.14 divided by 150.24, we get 9.41%. And last but not least, our percent mass of oxygen is going to be 16 grams per mole over 150.24 grams per mole, times that by 100, and we'll get 16 divided by 150 equals times 100, and we get 10.65. Good, so we have these three percentages. They should be correct. The best way to check it is to add them up and see if it comes into 100, because it is a percentage, right? So let's go this number plus 9.41 plus 79.94. And we get 99.9996. Because I didn't end up rounding the 10.65, we get that total of 100. So there's our check. So we know we have these percentages for each atom within the molecule of carbon. Okay, so when we do try example 2, the process is the same. You're using glucose C6H12O6 to determine the percent composition of each element, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, in glucose. Try that. Put your answer in that bottom section, the answer section of Verso, and that'll be your check to see that you've done it.